Hello there and welcome to the program. This is What's Your Story? My name is Catherine Mwangi. We're here at Machakos County, specifically at A&L Hotel, and we are grateful to the management for granting us this space to tape from. Our story today is from a young man who grew up in a background that is completely different from what it is now. So he was raised up by a great-grandmother who was a witch doctor and great-grandfather who was Muslim. I believe it was your great-grandfather. But anyway, we welcome to the program Reverend Peter Shengo of Faith Life Evangelistic Church.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
A reverend now,
Yes.
pastoring a church.
Yes, today I'm pastoring a church and
Yes.
leading a ministry.
Yes.
Yes.
But that is not your background.
That's not where it all started.
No.
No.
But when I read your profile and I see that you were raised by a great-grandmother who was in witchcraft, in the occult, basically, and your great-grandfather, right? It was your great-grandfather?
My grandfather.
Your grandfather was
Yes.
Muslim.
My grandfather was a
Yes.
Muslim. His name was Abdallah
Abdallah.
Chengo.
Abdallah Chengo.
Yes.
Okay, so I do not want to go over myself, but share with me your story. What was your background like?
Well, raised up by a single mother. But after she gave birth to me, she was in school. She handed me over to my grandmother.
Wait, your mother gave birth to you when she was still in school?
Yes.
What class?
Form 2.
Form 2?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
And then she handed me over to my grandmother. My grandmother's mother, that's my great-grandmother,
Yes.
was a witch doctor. My grandmother's husband was a Muslim. This is the background that I find myself.
Yes.
But by this time, as I grew to discover myself, my grandmother became a Christian. And so she was raising me up. At this point, my mother had cleared school and
Okay.
gone to the city.
So she had handed you over so that she can continue with school?
Yes, and
Okay.
then after school, she went to the city. So
Okay.
the better part of my childhood was with my grandmother in the village.
So how was it then, even before your grandmother became a Christian, means she was also a Muslim, right?
Yeah, but
Or she-
apparently at this point, most of those old men then would have many wives.
Oh, I see.
So he had about 5 wives.
5?
Yes.
Okay.
But my grandmother was the youngest wife. But this time, he didn't live long. When I was still young, he passed on.
Right.
So I'm left in the hands of my grandmother and my great-grandmother, who frequently was with us.
Okay.
After she would go out for her trips to go and do the treatments, the practicing, she would come home.
Okay.
And once in a while, she would share us, with us. She would tell us the kind of business she's doing and how it's thriving.
Wow. So what was the business? Like, would people come
Yeah,
see
she
her?
would see her, and she would go to families, she would go to businesses, she would travel to Arusha, she would travel to Voi, Mombasa, different parts of the country.
Is that so?
She was consulted. She was a consultant.
A witch?
You know, they are consultants. Yeah, these ones, they travel, depending with the magnitude of the business.
Okay.
It's actually an enterprise.
Is it? You are educating me right now. I thought it's just someone who sits somewhere in a coven and people come to see them. And
They have their coven, but they travel out, depending with, is it a family?
the demand.
Yes.
So after her trip,
She would-
itinerary.
Yes, she would come by, sometimes on our way to our place, but many times she loved to be at our place.
Yes.
Yes.
What-
So this was an exposure at
To
an
that
early,
world.
yeah, at an early age. But praise be to God, at this point, in that, when I'm just beginning to discover myself, my grandmother gives her life to the Lord. She becomes a Christian.
So explain that to me. So when your great-grandmother would come home, what are some of the things she would say or some of the things she
A lot
would
of
do?
stories on the kind of families she's gone to check, or homes or businesses, or towns, and she's done a lot of stuff to people. The business is thriving by art. They would call it
Yes.
treatment.
Treatment.
Yes.
So would she mete out the same treatment on you guys?
My mother was not born again, was not a Christian.
Yes.
So at some point when I'm in class 5, I moved to the city
To be with your mom?
to be with my mom and to school from the city.
Yes.
At that point, my mother and my grandmother, my great-grandmother, were very close friends. So she would now come paying as a visit, and my mother was in the business world. So now at this point, I was seriously exposed to that.
Because
She would administer part of that treatment to us as we go to school.
how? Like words? Is it words or is it
Words, and
actions?
she would get your book. She would want to do some stuff to your pen. But now there was a conflict of interest in me because,
Yes.
again now, before I transited to be with my mother,
Yeah.
my grandmother had begun to give me a Christian orientation. And here again, I'm finding myself in this exposure. So I'm growing in a world of conflict.
Yes.
Yes.
So tell me, so how is
And then
it?
my mother was not going to church. She was
No.
not a believer.
Yeah.
So she would take me out for clubbing.
Your mom?
Yeah. Let me tell you, it's a whole world altogether. She would take me out with her. You know, for me,
How old
when
were you?
that I'm now 11 at
When
that
you
time.
went out to the clubs with your mom?
Yes, I'm 11, 12. And when children are told not to drink, it was my mom's pleasure. She would tell me, once you drink, when you will be old, when you mature up, you will not find it fun to drink. So
Drink
come
now.
on. Yeah, take
Tell
it.
me
What
you're
wine do you want?
joking.
What
Reverend.
wine do you want? What spirits do you want to take? You know, those heavy wines, the vodka, the Amarula then was just the newest brand in the market, the
At
Tusker.
11?
Yeah.
So wait. Back me up a bit.
Yes.
So your grandmother,
Has already
Become
given
a
me
Christian.
and given me a bit of.
some foundation
Foundation.
of Christianity.
And at that point, when that foundation has just come in, I transit. I've been oriented to Sunday school a bit. Now I transit to the city, and I find a whole world again.
So tell me, how is it possible that your grandmom became a Christian in an environment where her mother is a witch doctor?
It's just the miraculous. That's how I can put it. But again, the other point at which the conviction came very strong is one of my uncles, an older brother to my mother, had given her life, had also become a Christian.
Okay.
And at this point, even became an evangelist. And he had been set apart to be a Muslim imam. The orientation that my grandfather had given him was for him to be an imam. He would travel with him to Mombasa, and he had really given him a serious Islamic
Teachings
yeah,
and
in
foundation.
fact, his name is today is a Reverend. He's Reverend Dr. Solomon. He's living currently in the U.S. His name was not originally Solomon. It was Suleiman.
Suleiman.
Yeah.
This is now your uncle.
Yes. So when he brought this Christian thing, it is what also he began to do an outreach to my grandmother. So it's at that point that my mother finds the reception
Yes.
to becoming a Christian.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so now let's go back to your 11. Your
Yes.
mother is young, obviously.
Yes, yeah.
And she wants to
She's
have
having
a good
fun
time.
and she doesn't want to leave her son.
No.
So after school, she's going out with me, and I'm taken to all manner of clubs in the country, and I'm exposed to all that.
Did you feel it was odd or it was normal?
I was having, I'm still discovering at that age. So I'm having a bit of fun, and at the same time, I'm having a conflict because of the orientation of the Sunday school. And so I remember like when Kofi Olomide came to Kenya, I was booked on the VIP.
Oh, what?
And I sat with the dancers. I think I had those pictures sometimes. I don't know where they are. Yes, and it was an
A
interesting.
12-year-old with Kofi Olomide,
Yes,
dancers.
yeah, that was the exposure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So,
and listening to all this Madilu system and all this Congolese and all this reggae, a bit, it almost got me a bit. It almost carried me a bit. So I was in between.
yes.
But I thank God again because I had an auntie. I had an auntie who was a believer and was living in the same town with us. Today she's a member of our church. She would come for me because we would not go to church on Sunday morning. So she would get to come to pick me. It's because she had also become a Christian. She would come for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as she would come for me, she would take me to church. But we've just come in the morning on a Saturday morning, Sunday morning at 4 a.m.
You're hungover.
I'm still having some of that sleep mode hangover. And then when I go to this church, I found this bishop who was preaching, and he would say, this young man looks like a preacher, because now my aunt would put me on suits.
How old were you this time?
Now I'm around 11, I'm in class 7, 8. Yeah.
So in a suit, hangovered to death.
Yeah, and
In the sanctuary.
yeah, I would go there, just like the way we are singing.
And
And that transpose of the morning.
and how was the education at that time? Like, what was happening in school?
Now I've come from the village, where I've had an orientation of Kikamba,
Okay.
of the Kamba
Language.
dialect, and everything was much Kamba. And I'm finding myself in the town. And finding myself in the town, everything is English and Swahili.
Yeah.
And I'm in trouble.
Because you don't know the language.
Because I don't know how to speak English. And there was this practice that the teachers in the primary school would put it across. There was something they used to call the discount, if you speak vernacular. So the kids around there, me, they knew this guy doesn't know English. So I would get it in the morning, and it would not go beyond me. It's supposed to circulate in the school.
But it stayed with you.
At some point, the school discipline master said, from now, let it not be given to Peter. But I thank God for my mother again, because she put me on a serious grilling. I had tuition every evening after school. So I began to be grilled, tuitioning. By the time I'm leaving class 7, I was the best in my class.
No.
Yes.
So you got tuition in English?
Tuitioning in English and everything.
Yeah.
I almost went back. I'm in class 5,
Yeah.
class 6. But I began to be tuitioned class 3 things for me to get the basic. I thank God for a teacher by the name Mr. Odera. Mr. Odera, God bless him. He did an amazing job on me. He sacrificed his evenings to be with me in the house and to ground me. And my improvement was so great, to the extent that I was the best while going to class 8 and the most improved pupil. And I also looked the most mature. They even promoted me to be the school head boy at that point.
Transformation.
Yes, total transformation.
But you are still going to the club.
Yeah, I'm still going a bit, over the weekend. I'm liking the outing. As a child, that outing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you must have been the only child in your class who was going to the club, because...
Yeah, me, I'm just enjoying. We are going to take a lot of drinks and a lot of... And then at that point, it's when pool tables had come. So I would go there and I would play. I remember one time I was oriented so well with the pool tables. They were the newest thing in the clubs. So I was the best. I remember several times I would win crates of wines and beers. And my mother would be like, it's good, because they're going to be having, this guy's good.
I love your mom. I think she's crazy. But it's
She is late. But
she's late?
yeah,
Okay, so
but
she's
she loved me so
of
much. She
blessed
didn't
memory.
want to, she didn't want to leave me behind. And
Oh my goodness.
the challenges of a single mother
Yes.
raising a young man.
My God.
Yeah.
My God.
But God had a plan with my life. So I go to class 8 and I do so well. and transit to high school. I went to Kaba High School. By then it was a national school.
Okay. Where is that?
It's in Yata.
Okay.
And in Kaba High School now, I'm not having the much exposure. I'm in
Is it a
school.
boarding school?
It's a boarding school. I'm in school.
So no more clubs.
No more going out. And I got this young man who was the CU leader by the name Erastus.
Okay.
And he also looked at me and he felt there was something special about me.
you.
And he did a serious follow-up on me to be in the Christian Union. And that forms the beginning of everything turning around.
My God.
Because now I'm exposed to a lot of foundational
Yes.
teachings
Yes.
on Christian. And I become so zealous. I became so zealous to the extent that when I'm leaving, I'm the CU leader. The teachers would even call me the pastor
What?
in the school.
It-
So when I could come home,
Yeah.
we had now serious conflict with my mother because I told her I cannot go, keep going to the clubs. I am not going to go. Please. And I would begin to reach out to her and to preach to her. And it got so serious. At some point, she gave me space. She said, she would tell her friends, my son is a brother, a Christian brother. Let's excuse him. Let's not have drinks in the house. The brother has come for holiday.
What?
Yes.
She started to respect
She
it.
began to respect it, and I thank God for her. And she respected my space. And I was so zealous in the word.
Yeah.
But
So
she passed on when I was just exiting high school, when I'm just about to exit high school.
what happened?
In those, they had an office challenge. I mean, there was a promotional issue in the office, and in those clubbing out, one time they're out, she got poisoned in her drink, and she passed on. Yeah. It was a very painful experience. My only brother then, I had gotten a brother, Timothy, was in class 4. And at this point, I become almost his guardian while I'm in need of a parent.
And you're in boarding school?
Yes, sometimes I would actually excuse myself from school to go and visit him while on uniform.
Who was he staying with after
He was in a
Mama?
boarding school as
As
well.
well, at that age?
At that age, because my mother was busy. So at class 4,
Yeah.
he had been admitted to a boarding school.
Wow.
And
So,
an amazing journey begins there. My uncle, the Reverend,
yes, the evangelist now. The one in
Yeah.
the States?
yes, the one in the US, is the one who came to tell me that my mother had passed on. And so
You're in Form What at this time?
I'm just exiting. It's about 3 months and I'm out of high school. I was actually doing my
About to
mocks.
do your exams?
Yes. And I felt, it shook me to the nerves. I never imagined of a world
Without Mom?
without a mother. It was a very difficult world. I didn't have a lot of connection with my relatives. My mother had really kept us by herself.
Yes. Did you know your dad?
At that point, no.
Okay. Okay.
But my mother had mentioned him to me.
Okay.
And so my uncle picks me up and takes me to Thika. And there were challenges, in fitting in his house. At some point, I'm exposed. He took me to a discipleship mission school.
Why did he take you to a school?
He
yet you're in
sensed
school?
I have just cleared high school.
Oh, now you have cleared.
Yes, and that experience where I buried my mother on the 31st of July. And it was on a Saturday. And on the Sunday, I woke up. ailing from measles. The shock hit me
And
badly
manifested as
and
measles.
manifested in a sickness. And it was a very difficult time because 2 weeks, 3 weeks down, I was down on drugs and I was not recovering. After that, I was taken to Machakos level 5 and they checked on me and they found again I had brucellosis. And by then, the treatment for brucellosis was 21 injections.
21.
Yes.
Okay, you hold it right there. We shall be back after the
moment.
break to listen to what happened to Pastor Peter Chengo. My goodness, I did not expect this story. But don't go too far. What's
Yeah.
Your Story comes back in a bit.
And there is nobody who is useless. Neither is there any circumstance that can render you useless. Not unless you also cooperate with the prevailing circumstances and accept what the world tells you or what you find around yourself.
Welcome back to the show. It's What's Your Story? My name is Catherine Mwangi. We are here at the ANL Hotel in Machakos County having an incredible, unbelievable conversation with Reverend Peter Chengo of the Faith Life Evangelistic Church. We have established that he was raised by a single mom who right now she's of blessed memory. She passed on, but the life she gave her son is just incredible. At least to me, it's wild, but it's beautiful.
Yes.
And so you grieved deeply for your mom when she passed on,
Yes.
that you got sick. So you were there, you were telling us about 21 injections.
Yes, at Machakos level 5, at this point again I have pneumonia. It was some kind of an amazing experience, a terrible experience. And mind you, I'm supposed to be preparing for my exam.
Then?
So at this point, it was difficult because I was ailing until almost a few weeks to the exam. It's when I'm resuming to school. And that really affected me.
Yeah.
Being an A student,
Yeah.
I flopped. I know everybody loves to hear of I passed,
Yes.
but I would tell you the truth, I flopped. From an A, the least I would get, a B plus, I went down to a C.
Wow.
That again depressed me. And so after high school, my uncle, the Reverend, realized that I was sinking in a depression of some sort, and most of my relatives did not know how to manage or handle me. But my uncle took me to Thika. I did not also know how to adjust in a new family environment. There was a bit of some chaos, some confusion. I sank almost to a houseboy.
Wow.
But my uncle did not give up on me. He followed me and picked me from there and realized the only way he would deal with me was to check on my passion and capitalize on it. And I had passion
Yes.
for the things of God.
Yes.
And so he took me into a discipleship mission school. And I became alive.
Were you using drugs at this point?
I was on medication. I was sinking down because I'm still mourning my mother. I feel the world has turned upside down. I don't understand this world that my mother is not present.
And where was your brother this time?
My brother this time is coming to stay with my grandmother and one of my uncles once in a while. He's in between my grandmother and my uncle.
Yes.
And it was a difficult and a terrible experience.
Yes.
We are separated. He is still mourning. I have to come sometimes from Thika because only me as his brother would understand him. So I would have to come all the way to go see him in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the young man also, that really affected him.
Yes.
He didn't fare so well. But he was admitted to Chogoria school, high school. But I went and changed it to Kaba because I knew Kaba. I was known in Kaba. And I needed a place I would closely
Yes.
monitor
Monitor
him.
him. Yes.
So I'm still doing a bit of guardian.
You're the parent.
Yes, I'm the parent that you would understand.
Yes. Yes. And so you are in discipleship school at this time as well?
Yes.
Okay, and how is that going?
It's doing very well. It's making me become alive. It's beginning to give me a life.
Yes.
It made me discover myself. I found out this was my life. And after I fared very well, I was thrown into the mission world. I did my attachment a bit at Kakuma refugee camp.
Oh, wow.
Where we had a mission base. Now that I'm exposed to different cultures, I'm exposed to the different nationalities, the
Yes.
Sudanese, the
Yes.
Ethiopians, the Rwandese, the Burundians, the Congolese. And I'm reaching out to them. And it was a hardship world. I would share some pictures, you'd be
Yes.
amazed.
Yes.
But I am liking it. I feel this is what God created me for.
To do.
And I think when I look behind today, some commotion or destabilization was to get me off, to get me in to what I am today. I would say that, although painful, although full of tears and hard memories, but I think I would say, in the way we put it, that the hand of the Lord was trying to shake everything that would get me off his purpose. Although I complained, I would accept. Although I was asking why me,
Yes.
I wrote so many letters to God as a young teenager then, as a young man. I don't know, I think I have some in my file.
What were you telling him?
I grew up without a father. And the story I had is that he did not accept on the hearing that my mother was pregnant. He rejected. And God, how dare you, when I'm just about to break out, you take my only other parent that I have. Are you fair, God? Those were the story. And I think today I would say sorry that I was asking those questions. Sometimes we ask a lot of questions,
Yes.
not knowing. Probably, as Joseph
Yeah.
would say one time, it was meant for evil, but it turns out for good.
Yes. Yes. So the journey in ministry, what has that been like in a nutshell? Has it been smooth?
Now, that was an amazing exposure because now the mission world was, in my thinking, an exposure to harden me. Because after Kakuma, I was sent shortly to South Sudan, Rubeck. That time it was the Sudan.
Yes.
But in the southern point, Rubeck, where we had the war, I find myself there as a missionary. In the night, you're hearing gunshots and a lot of killings, and you're seeing people maimed. You're hearing difficult stories. So I had all along carried my difficult story, only to find people that are telling me he swam through River Nile, and he doesn't know anybody in the world that is a relative. And I'm the one to give them encouragement. So I filed my story. I shut down and I realized I'm better off.
My God.
I'm hearing all manner of stories. Somebody telling me she saw the entire family being massacred. She saw the mother being shot. He saw his brothers being shot. He saw his friend being cut, amputated. He saw others being eaten by crocodiles trying to swim through River Nile. And I wiped up my tears. Sometimes we think we have difficult experiences until you find somebody else. So I'm there now. I'm the one to minister to these people. I'm their missionary.
And the encourager.
An encourager.
And so did you at that point understand the purpose for your pain?
Now I began to understand that I went through some experiences to be a point of solace to others.
Yes.
So I'm here ministering to them, encouraging them, praying for them, sharing the word with them. An interesting experience altogether.
Yes.
An interesting experience altogether.
So at what point in your life did you start the family? You're married?
So now from there I dashed shortly to Nuba Mountains. From there I come again to Thika. I'm sent to Rwanda to start a mission discipleship school. From there I'm sent to Congo, to Zambia, to Mozambique. I'm meeting Ethiopia. I'm meeting people. I'm ministering to people that have been discouraged, people that have given up. And I was in that world for some years.
Wow.
But while in Machakos, I had a spiritual father by the name Bishop Paul Mutua.
Okay.
And he called me home back to Machakos through his conversation with Bishop Mulandi.
Okay.
That this young man is doing very well, but he needs to go to school to further his studies because he has a great deposit in his life. That was the burden in my spiritual father's heart.
Yes.
He saw that I had potential, but he was saying, if this young man would go to school and further his studies, he would be of more help than what he is today. So that is what now his call pulled me from mission world
field, yes,
and cross-cultural world to the church ground.
Local church.
To a local church.
Yes.
But I've been used to traveling
Yes.
all over.
Yes.
So I have to be tamed down. And Bishop Mutuo, my spiritual father, who was really praying along with me, and he used to say, when my auntie would take me to church in those early days, he would say something special with these young men. And Bishop, he had a pastor is today a bishop called Bishop Mose, who would also confirm the same.
Okay.
So this point, now in a local church, and I'm told, I'm given time to pray, to accept this direction. And I said, yes, sir. I accepted the direction to be in the pastoral office, but I began now as a youth pastor in the local church in Machakos.
Okay.
But at the same time, I had to go to school. So I applied to Pan-Africa Christian University. The reason I applied there is because they had an exposure to, it was then under the Canadians, the Pentecostal Assemblies of Canada, and it was admitting students from all over the world. So one of the things you needed to do there was a TOEFL exam. Now, I did not have the grades.
Yes.
Because I did not fare well.
Yes.
And so I went, applied, by God's grace, the registrar, today Dr. Anthony Mwaniki, when he saw my application as they were sorting them out, although I did not merit, he said to the academics dean, this young man, because you needed to attach also your profile, after reading his story, I need to give him a trial on the TOEFL exam. If he performs, we will admit him.
Wow.
Let's give him a window through the TOEFL.
Wow. Favor.
So my exam was on the TOEFL, and it was, the English testing. So I went to the exam. I'm meeting Ghanaians, I'm meeting Ethiopians, Sudanese, Rwandese
Yes.
students,
Yes.
Canadians, and some Kenyans. And I did the exam, and I fared the best. And Dr. Mwaniki told the Dean of Academics, I told you something was
Yeah.
striking with his
With this
profile.
one.
So let's admit him. Let's give him 1 year
Yes.
or 1 semester or
Yeah.
2 semesters and see. So now the challenge came in. Monique likes me to be in school, but I've no school fees. So I come back and I tell Bishop Mutua, I've been admitted. That was a miracle by itself, because no one would imagine with my grades I would be taken into the university.
Right.
And he said, are you sure? You mean they took you in? I said, yes, they did. They took me in, and Bishop said, okay. I remember in one of the services, Sunday service, he told me, it was on a Saturday, I went for the orientation. And when I went for the orientation, Dr. Maniki said, do you have school fees? I said, don't mind, sir. I'll pay my school fees on the registration day. I'll pay everything. But this time,
Yeah.
I'm just bubbling my lips. And interesting. So I remember I had only one ticket. I had not even told Bishop that I was going for the orientation. I risked. I had one-way ticket to Nairobi.
Yeah.
I didn't have money to come back. So after the orientation, I've told Dr. Maniki I'll come for admission on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I go to the stage. And that time from Kasarani, Roysambu to town, it was 20, 30 shillings. I didn't have that. I stood there, just waiting for a miracle. If you don't believe in miracles, I can tell you miracles are there. Because I had helped while in Thika, a church plant in Kabati of Christian Church International. And matatu would come to town, I would say, it's too noisy. I want a quiet matatu. It's not noise. Another one would come, I would say, it's too old. But I have no fare. The issue is that I have no fare. So while standing there, the pastor of the church in Kabati shows up, coming from Zimmerman. He finds me and he says, in the local dialect of Swahili, he said, Muhunja, Mubiri, evangelist, what are you doing here? I said, I've just joined the university, Pan-Africa University today. I'm from the orientation. He said, and you really helped us in starting Kabati, CCI, Christian Church International. Why didn't you raise me to just be of support and be of blessing to you when you did such a great work to us? That was not fair, Pastor, evangelist. That's not fair. How can you be joining the university and you've not told us? And I said to the pastor, I was to still raise you. And he said, here is 1,000 shillings. Don't mind how small it is. Just go take a drink. I'm going to talk to the church in Kabati. We have to support you. I said, thank you, sir. God bless you, Pastor. The moment he walked away, the next matatu,
Noisy or old?
Noisy or old, I was inside, in tears. How can this be?
Yes. My goodness.
I was in tears.
Yes.
To town.
Yes.
And to transiting to Machakos. And to church.
Yes.
And then that's when I went and found Bishop, and he came and asked me, when are you joining school? I said, I've been admitted today.
Yeah, it is done.
I'm just from the orientation.
It is done.
Bishop said, are you sure? Where are the papers?
Yeah.
I showed him the papers.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? Make sure tomorrow you're in the service. And Bishop raised 10 people that would give him, in that service, that would give him 10,000. I didn't know people loved me in that church. People popped up more than 10.
Wow.
And true to my word to Dr. Moniki, on that Tuesday, I had a banker's check of the full fee Then the fee for Pan-Africa was 150,000.
And you had it.
I had paid everything, including pocket money, upkeep money.
We're running out of time. Tell me about your family. Your stories of faith are many.
Yes. Years later, I'm done with Pan-Africa.
Yes.
Well, I did 1 year at Park. After the first semester of my first year, I was with Bishop Mutua for a meeting, and he was supposed to speak. But this time, he says, instead of him speaking, he has one of his sons who just joined university, and he can speak on his behalf. And I'm given the opportunity to do so. And in that meeting, there was a professor who, after listening to me, he said, I have some scholarships granted for national public universities. But the way you've spoken in that meeting, I think you need to try. I said, of course. I have been waiting for such an opportunity. So you needed to do a research paper and send it to them. I did it, forwarded, it was selected. And I was invited for an interview panel at KICC by some university dons from different universities.
Okay.
And I go there, but realizing that I'm from a private university, I was given the last chance. I was given the last chance. And the professor that had opened the door for me said, don't leave. So I stuck there from 9 up to around 4 in the evening. I was the last. So they said, there was this young man from the private university. Is he here? I said, yeah, I'm around. I was told, the rest would be given like 15 minutes. I was told, you have 10 minutes. And the rest they would write down. But on my case, they folded their hands. I told God, help me. I need to do this in 7 minutes. In 7 minutes, I did my presentation on point to point. And all the panel stood up and clapped.
Standing ovation.
The chair of the panel said, we have had nothing since morning. For the first time, we have had something substantive.
Wow.
Would you mind to repeat? We give you now 15 minutes. And they all got busy with their pens. I said, I said, fine, I don't mind.
Yeah.
So I came again, repeating.
Repeated.
After 10 minutes, the chair stood up and said, thank you. You are the best. Scholarship granted. The rest were to wait. For me, I left out of that all with the results.
My goodness. Favor.
And this scholarship was awarded for me up to the master's
level.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Now, after master's, while still doing ministry, I was invited to Kenyatta University to minister. And my wife was there. Coming to us, was leading the service, was the guest leader. She's a singer. And so that is where we met.
Okay.
I enter into the meeting and I find this beautiful lady that is leading worship. And I felt something that I had not felt before. And our story begins there with my wife, Pastor Sally today, although she's also in the corporate world. And we got married. This is our 10th year in marriage.
Wow, 10.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing.
We are blessed with 2 daughters.
Yes.
Ada and Adasa.
Oh, wow. Do you look at your life and see and wonder or just marvel, yes, that's the word, and just marvel at how God's hand has been with you, even when you had a great-grandmother who was chanting incantations and doing her thing in her world, losing your mother, you know, at such a young age, having a dad who rejected his child, and just God just bringing all of these steps to you. Does it make you marvel?
When I look behind, I marvel. And I realized that it does not matter where you are born.
Please tell them.
It does not matter the circumstances surrounding your upbringing or your growing life. Every man, everyone, every young person, every child has a clear-cut path, a path that is clearly cut by God. And there is nobody who is useless. Neither is there any circumstance that can render you useless. Not unless you also cooperate with the prevailing circumstances and accept what the world tells you or what you find around yourself. But if you believe in God and if you also believe in yourself and you stay focused, whether born in a single family, whether rejected, dejected, whether born in the wedlock, out of wedlock, beyond the locks, without the locks, after the locks, you have a life that is clearly cut. And you are not useless. You are not dejected.
Yes.
It's an experience you go through. It is not a full stop. It's a comma, and you can write beyond it.
I love it. I love it. Should they want to reach you, how can they reach you? Let them know.
Today, God has blessed us. We began later a ministry by the name Faith Life Evangelistic Church in Machakos Town. We have 5 branches. We have 5 pastors out there. It's a congregation of around, right now, we are clocking to around 450, 500 people.
Wow.
In the last 3 years, this is our 4th year. I'm mentoring young people, and I'm specializing with those that are coming from the
Hard places.
Those that feel that your life is not possible, or it's all darkness. There is a path in that darkness.
Yes.
And so if you want to reach me, my number is 0724 376560.
Say it again, please.
My number is 0724 376560 or 0733 58 5799. 0733 58 5799. We are doing university outreach. I'm doing mentorship to students in the university. Students from single parents, orphans, children's home, primary schools, just doing motivational, inspirational talks, apart from my ministry life.
Yeah.
And doing conferences just to raise their esteem. People that have gone through rape, people that have been thrown, rejected out their house girls. Right now we've raised with my wife 3 of our house girls. 2 are nurses. 1 is now in the KMTC pursuing a degree in physiotherapy.
My God. I wish we had more time.
Yes.
But you know, your story is so inspiring. I like what you said towards the end, where do not cooperate with your circumstance.
Yeah.
Don't align with it. Don't be in agreement with it, you know. And I like just seeing how God's hand has been in your life and just rescuing you from the occult and from things that were not meant for you, and just look at you. Even with watches that are talking. As we said during the break, you have a watch that's talking. But Reverend Peter Chengo, thank you so much for coming to the show today.
Thank you.
I absolutely appreciate you making the time.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, and I hope we can get to do this again. I have a feeling we've just scratched the surface.
We may need to do another series.
A part 2, eh?
A part 2.
A part 2.
Now, I'll give you a lot of details.
A lot of details. Okay.
Yeah,
part 2 you have promised.
Yes.
Perfect. You have heard the Reverend. Reverends don't lie.
True.
Yeah?
True.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you for watching as well. We are also grateful to the A&L Hotel Management for allowing us to film from this beautiful hotel right in the heart of Machakos County. Should you need to get in touch with the Reverend, you got his numbers. In case you missed that, just find that on our social media pages. And the show goes up on YouTube right after this, and a repeat this coming Tuesday at 10 p.m. Thank you so much for watching. Like the Reverend said, you are not useless. Do take care of yourselves.
My name's Kitheka Wambua. Kitheka Wambua, I'm the general manager of A&L Hotel. And we have all the facilities to accommodate all our clients here, be it by conferencing, by accommodation, by luxury for the lunch, for family lunches and dinners as well. All our customers, you're most welcome to A&L Hotel. It's a place to be, a place to enjoy yourself and have fun for your families and friends and corporates.